Hi guys, weekend show brought from you from the fantastic JCB today. It's got to be a good one. Hi guys, so as said, welcome to another weekend show. This one is all about LIV Golf and my visit to LIV Golf at JCB, which was yesterday. So a little overview of the day. I did a video last year when I visited for the first time. I know quite a few have been watching it this week who are visiting this week, and a few of you have been in touch about that as well. So let me know if it was one of you who visited, what did you think about it? The difference for me this year is I split it up into a family day and with friends. So I went with Will, who appeared on a few of the videos, and Kelvin, who is the manager here at Tapton Park Golf Club and overseeing a few of the link courses, and also owner of Leisure Pod dedicated venues here at Tapton Park. So we split up the family stuff and the friend stuff, which we'll go into over the quick overview. It can cater for a little bit of everything on there. So I thought I'd just use this weekend show just to chat about the day, how it went, how the experience was. So we'll just go over a few little bite-sized pieces in this video. It won't be a long video here, just a little quick chat. So in terms of logistics this year, I was designated driver. So I picked up en route Will and Kelv, and it took about an hour and 20. A few little detours along the way on there on the sat-nav, a few road closures. But all in all, straight in there. Car parking we paid prior, straight into the car park, no queuing, no waiting. 5-minute walk, and through the walk we got to walk through the side of the JCB factory. So this year I took my boy, 6-year-old. He's getting into golf a little bit, but he's still not too fussed with it. But when I mentioned it was about JCBs, he's definitely an engineer at heart, like his granddad, and obsessed with anything in terms of engineering. JCB. So as soon as I mentioned JCB, he's never been so up early, up, ready, 5:30 in the morning. Is it time to go yet? So as we're walking by, seeing all the JCBs, he was in his element. Definitely not fussed about the golf, but the JCBs had definitely got him out of bed, ready and changed. Hopefully he'll do that when school returns in about 6 weeks' time. So as I said, walked in the venue, straight in, no queuing this year. The gates were already open, straight through security. And from there we got there, shotgun start, obviously like always at LIV events. It was a 1:05 shotgun start. We got there about 11:30. 11:45, so we want to head straight up to the practice area, which just gives you a fantastic chance to get up close to the people. A couple of changes. What I noticed this year, they'd actually added an extra putting green. One, I guess there's a lot of players out there, there's a lot of fans wanting to go watch as well, so we went around the putting green. Great to watch them. For my little science bays, I was watching them. Cam Smith specifically, who was pretty close by, watching his pre-shot routine, all the drills, the putting mirrors, the lasers, checking the slopes, percentage-wise on there. So videoed a few of those, going to analyse a few of their putting strokes, how my brain works on there. Headed to the driving range. Driving range changed slightly from last year, where you enter the driving range on the right-hand side, what we did do last year. On the right, where the Majestics tent is, you could go into a viewing balcony. That had gone this year, so that was a little bit disappointing because you could watch the driving range from a slightly elevated point of view. But what you could do now is walk all the way along the driving range, which I don't think you could do last year. The only thing was that it was 5-6 deep, so it's tough to get closer to the players, but you could get a good view. You get to see inside the JCB practice facility building as well as you go through there. And if you walk to the far side of the driving range, there's a fantastic chipping green area. Sometimes we thought they were chipping off the green, but that was actually the fairways. But that's how immaculate it is, and I know I could just spend days and days and days on that practice green. So we got to see a lot of the players close up. Bryson was doing his putting, and those of you who know me, especially if you went with, know what I think of Bryson. Absolutely love that guy. So it's great to see him in person and watch the fellow scientist at work. So once we'd done all the practice facilities, the boy was getting a bit restless. He wanted to go see some JCB, so we got a few photos. So with the JCBs, which is outside the practice facilities, it was then about 12:30, so about 35 minutes till the shotgun tee time. So we headed to go get some food. This is one of the downsides to LIV, especially if you're on a budget, but when you're in there, the food was tasty. We grabbed a couple of pizzas. They're definitely not the cheapest. Drinks are not the cheapest. You can't take too much in with you, whereas if you go to the open days, you're there obviously for a lot longer. It's not the shotgun start, but you can take in a bit more food and a bit more stuff there. I know they're a bit more strict when they go in there. Captive audience, they definitely make the money on the drinks and the food. But there's plenty of food establishments, plenty of drinking establishments. So we grabbed a couple of pizzas. Then I saw the first group, which was Bryson, DJ, and Tyrrell. So as Mrs. Golf Mad Dad and the boy went to finish off their pizzas, I headed to the first hole, wanted to see the first group come through, all ready for the shotgun start. So 105, fireworks went off, one of the JCB engines was revving away, and off they went to the shotgun start. So on the first hole, as I said, I saw Bryson up close, Tyrrell and DJ up there. One thing you could tell straight away, the greens, they look immaculate, and they are immaculate, but they're definitely receptive out there. And you can see with some of the scores, you put receptive greens in front of these boys, they're going to do well, even though the course is super, super long now. All the par fives are over 600 yards. With greens like that, they're going to shoot some pretty good scores out there. So the boy joined me when Bryson was coming up. So we sat and watched Bryson for a bit. The boy, obviously, I think he's seen him on YouTube, as that's what I watch on there. But he just wanted to go see his friend, his neighbour who had actually come, same age, but he was coming. He was on the first tee, so he was just pestering to go see his boy and go into the family zone, which we'll chat a bit why it's so good for the kids as well. It was great to see them close up. Then came through, John Rahm came through. So I saw a couple of groups come through. Then it was time to go and split the day into a bit of the family time. So before the boy went off to see his friend, I took them on a little view of the course. We walked up the third, headed to the far side. Well, not quite the far side. It was where the drivable 12th, the 13th tee, walked to there. Richard Bland was teeing off on 13, ripped one down the middle up there. And with the drivable 12th, there was actually a couple who nearly got clonked on the head as they came down there. So we headed up there on the side of 13, just looks stunning. The little houses, apartments, whatever they are, they look fantastic with the lakes, JCBs in the lakes. Again, boy loves that stuff. So we headed out to the party hole, wanted to show Mrs. Golf Mad Dad a party hole. So by the time we got to the party hole, music was pumping up on there, and it was Richard Bland again through from there. So they enjoyed that. Party hole was as good as ever, but I did return back, which we'll go through in a bit. So from there, the boy really wanted to go see his friend. So we headed into the family village, and this is where I gotta say really does cater for the kids. So just by the family village was actually the 9th, the Majestics bar sat behind. So with the kids, we sat actually just by the 9th green as they walked up to the 10th. And it was a great actually viewing area for the kids to get a high five off the pros who were coming past on there. So a great little spot through from there. So after that, it was time to split the day from the family day to go and spend an hour or so with a couple of friends. They'd got into the Majestics bar. So I went and headed into the Majestics bars. The family went into the family zones, and the family zone, so much to do for the kids. There's a basketball, there's a golf simulator, there was a little football kind of table, lots and lots for them to do in there. Also, there was an AI, which would let, if you took a photo of the kid, it showed what they look like when they're around 12-year-olds. But the bonus was, you got a free ice cream for that. So Mrs. Golf Mad Dad and the boy headed for that to get that free ice cream. But the hour and a bit, what they had a fantastic time in there. Used all the fun figs. There's also a big TV screen. There's beanie bags you can lie on to watch the big telly. So they were occupied for an hour and a half. I went off to join the boys, designated driver, but it was nice to get the first beer of the day. So we're actually in the Majestics bar. We were sat at the front row, right behind the green. So we saw about 5-6 groups coming down. I think it's about 170 yard par 3, playing about 150-55. And this is how good these guys are. There wasn't a single shot that wasn't pin high. There's a little bit of trouble on the right of the pin. They never went right. So their distance control is just on it all the time. And as I said, all the greens were quite receptive. So the ball's just stopping dead. And just for my mate, they were playing little chippy pitching wedges, 9 irons down my hill. But it was great to see there. First one I got to see was Bubba up there. He rolled in a birdie. A few others came through. Phil Mickelson, John Rahm, Bryson was up there. Stenson held a little cheeky birdie up on there. So fantastic venue, that Majestics. I'm more a Crushers fan, but I know friends are with. They're the big Majestics fans. So from there, we'd seen a lot of the course last year, played on the simulator a couple of times, but we headed up to the party halls. We know Bryson was coming round, and we know, and I saw from there, a lot of the groups, there weren't the crowds around the golf course, but if you saw the Bryson group, 90% of the people were rushing to see Bryson. So we headed to the party hole. The atmosphere definitely ramped up from where Richard Blandy was up there. We knew Bryson was coming on. The crowds came in. The music was pumping. Sat next to the speaker, which was pumping away until it stopped working. So just a great atmosphere on that party hole. Got to see Bryson come up. My mate Kelv got a little wave off Bryson, so I got a little bit jealous on there. We love you, Bryson! But to have music playing around the course, I definitely like that vibe. As I mentioned last year, they definitely turned the volume down around the course, so it's just a nice, constant bit of music around the course, which I definitely enjoy. I enjoy that vibe. Might get some speakers up in the buggy if I go play a few holes after this later on. So we've done the party hole. It was nearly time to head back. So obviously that's the 14th. Bryson was on the 14th. He was going to finish on the 18th. We wanted to beat the traffic, so we headed back, go pick the family up, go get the merchandise, which found Mrs. Golf, my dad, found the boy. They'd had a fantastic time. So then we headed the way down. Wanted to get out just before the last hole or two had finished to try and beat a lot of the traffic, which we did. So we headed down, headed to 17. So we watched a couple of balls come over. I got to say, and Kel really agrees with me, I think 17th, in my opinion, could be a lot better in terms of the spectator. Don't know how they could fully do it, but when you sat there, you can't really see from the top. There's a grandstand, I think, behind the 17th tee, but when you're in the middle, you can't really see what's going on. And for a hole, what is absolutely stunning, I think they could do more from a spectator point of view to make it even better from a spectator view. I know one for playing, it's going to be stunning for playing it. If I ever get to play it, one can only hope and dream. But if there's any way they could put some kind of spectators behind the green grandstand, build it up from the lake, that would be some viewing experience to see it coming from the top, falling on the green. So I'm sure JCB could build something out the lake, get a stand out of there. Now that would be a viewing area. So then from the 17th, headed to the 18th, we could see a group coming up the 18th, up the hill to the big grandstand. On the finish, I'd actually just watched Rick Shields' video the night before. The day was done, we headed out. The boy and Mrs. Golf, my dad, wanted one more ice cream. So 2 ice creams, little Diet Coke, another £15 gone. But hey, we were there for the day, they really enjoyed it. And we headed to the gates, straight out to the car, only a couple of minutes worth of traffic. I got the guests dropped off and we were home within an hour and a half. So all in all, just a fantastic day. So conclusion for me, guys, I just love that venue. It looks stunning. First impressions, when you see it, it just looks absolutely immaculate. It's the first time Mrs. Golf, my dad, has been to a golf event. She really enjoyed it. I don't think she'd rush back to it. She's not really into the golf as much, but it was great for her to see it. One, when my boy gets more into golf, I think I'd take him again in a couple of years when he wants to watch some more of the golf and not just go play on the JCBs. In terms of the playing conditions, I watched the highlights on YouTube later on. It was interesting to see Tyrrell moaning on the first hole. I know he does like a little moan, nice guy, but he does like a little moan. That he had mud on the ball, which you couldn't tell, obviously, from a spectator point of view. So it was quite soft conditions, but everything was lush. You could tell how much watering they'd been doing on the course. So there's mud on the ball on the fairway, which you can't tell, but I know they do like a little moan on there. The greens, like I said, were receptive. And I know as I'm coming to film this, I think Westwood's was blitzing it, eagle, birdie start. So there's scores out there. As we said, super long course, but receptive greens. You give any pro on receptive greens, they're going to shoot some good scores out there. So as I said, absolutely loved it. I definitely will return next year. So let me know in the comments below. Did you go this year? What did you think of it? What was your best bits of it? Which bits don't you like with? Or are you still PGA Tour, European Tour, would never go to LIV Golf? I don't want to get involved with the politics of the Saudi and the LIV, but for me, it's just a fun day out. I'm more of a football background, so I like the team background from it. I can see that getting bigger and bigger in terms of the teams. I saw quite a few young kids there really getting into it, follow the apps, picking the teams. So I do like that aspect of it. Golf definitely needs to come together, get the best players playing together as much as they can. Not that they ever did through the past. They've never really played lots of events all together, but it'd be great to get them. So next year, as I said, gonna return, but I might do a corporate day. I know a couple of friends, they fancy doing the corporate day out there. So if you've been for a corporate day, which one did you go in? Did you go to the Digger Inn? Let me know which one. Did you go up to the 18th? If you've been to one, get in the comments, let me know which would you recommend, would you not recommend. So LIV Golf, I think they've got a couple of years more at JCB. Let me know. I don't know how much further. Hopefully they'll stick around there. I think some European Tour events should definitely be coming. I know they do the Seniors Tour, but it's definitely a venue and infrastructure what can put on the biggest of tournaments on there. So guys, I think I've chatted enough on there. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. If you've gone to golf, Sunday when this goes out in the afternoon and you see who the winner is. Hopefully you had a fantastic time. I know the weekend they put the parties on at night, so I might have to do a Saturday and Sunday and stay for the music behind. So LIV Golf JCB, absolutely loved it. Fantastic facility. If you haven't been, I'd highly recommend paying a visit next year. Right guys, that's enough chatting for one day. LIV Golf event, really loved it. I will definitely return. I've got the buggy, clubs are in the back, so I might go play a couple of holes, being inspired by watching a few things from Bryson and Cam Smith. So let's go put it into action. Right, enjoy the rest of your weekend if you're watching it on the Sunday. If you've been to the LIV, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll speak to you soon on another weekend show. Right, till later guys.